Hey guys, this is The Villain's Demand. I'm Evan the Great, and I'm here with JVD, and today we're going to bring you an episode of Crossover Collision.
And today we're bringing you Judge Dredd, also known as Joseph Dredd, Old Stony Face from 2000 AD. At a kind of sidebar when me and Evan the Great was talking about some characters to do because we really need to get back on Crossover Collision, and I brought up Judge Dredd, and lo and behold, a couple of days later, one of his creators, Carlos Esquera, I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, had died, so I thought that was kind of an odd coincidence. Yeah. So, but I've always enjoyed Judge Dredd.
Yeah.
Big fans of that 2012 movie. Man, that was awesome.
It's one of the best movies ever.
So, but if you're looking for a guy in a shootout and you want to match him with somebody in a shootout, this would kind of be the guy you should probably use because Judge Dredd's a badass.
Oh, he's ridiculous.
So, with that being said, we're going to, as our crossover collisions require people from behind the mask, we'll start going over what these guys are capable of. So, you want to run down abilities first or weaponry?
For Dredd?
Yeah.
He's known for his weaponry, so I think we start off with that.
All right. So, I guess
he's also known for his law-abiding rules.
Yeah, he will abide by the law no matter what.
He's a paladin.
Yeah. So, the one thing we had talked about, and which you would want to bring up, was that we know he's not going to use.
Oh man, his what's the name of it?
The Lawmaker.
The Lawmaker.
The motorcycle.
His motorcycle is freaking bad A.
Yeah, it is, and it technically is standard equipment for him, but we're not using that for anytime there's a crossover collision. No vehicles allowed. But I say this, but just a bit off topic. Hobgoblin would have his glider.
He would.
So
and he drives around on his motorcycle and protects the city of Mega City 1.
Huh. Future episode, Judge Dredd versus Green Goblin.
He has it for 20%, because then in the movie he goes into the building for the rest of it.
God, that's that movie. So, but, and it's got an array of weaponry, missiles, all types of machine gun. It's heavily armored. It can answer to his call. I mean, it's pretty bad.
His motorcycle's basically freaking RoboCop.
Pretty much, yeah. But besides that, to me, the main thing Judge Dredd is known for is his lawgiver handgun.
Oh, yeah.
It's a DNA coded to user only, and if you were to use it and you were not Judge Dredd or any other Dredds, it will blow your hand off. Usually it's depicted almost all the way up halfway to the forearm or to the elbow.
Yeah.
It carries 6 standard types of rounds, which we have standard bullets, which I will say that these types of ammo, by what I've seen with Judge Dredd, are usually unlimited. I've never seen a book where he's reloaded, and where I'm getting this at is, at one time he had 100 missiles shot at him, and he ran from them and shot them all out with standard ammunition.
That's crazy.
So I would assume that there's no infinite amount of ammo. Also, the fact that with just his words, he can change this type of ammo that is in the lawgiver. For instance, the other ones are rubber, ricochet. We have which would be non-lethal.
Yeah,
and that's about as non-lethal as Judge Dredd gets.
But still, I don't want to get shot by a non-lethal bullet coming out of his gun, because then that means he's going to come over towards me when I'm knocked out.
He also has armor piercing, which kind of speaks for itself. Heat seeking, which also speaks for himself. We have Incinerary.
We've seen him do that.
Yeah.
2012 movie.
Yeah. And if you haven't watched that, you should watch it. And High X, which is high explosives. So basically, he packs the weaponry of a small infantry into one weapon. When needed, trackers and stun shots can be loaded into the lawgiver. That's where I was kind of thinking of, this thing has to have an infinite amount of shots. Even in the movie, I can't think of any time we've reloaded it. But that's the only thing that I know of that, besides other types of ammunition, that he can actually load into the gun and use. So, the lawgiver, pretty nice piece of weaponry.
Yes.
I would go to say it is the Iron Man armor of firearms.
Yes.
One thing that that's usually standard for Judge Dredd is the scattergun, which is a pump action shotgun. We have the day stick, which Evan the Great was very excited about.
Yeah, man, the day stick is awesome. I've seen him use it, hit people with it. Different few books I've read, but mostly in the 2012 film. But I also found out this day stick is basically almost indestructible.
Yeah, it's basically a two-handed cudgel.
Yeah, so he can beat your ass from back, up close. He can run you over a motorcycle.
Yeah, I mean,
Don't break the law.
I mean, in 2000 AD, I mean, the judges are everything's to the T. You know,
Yeah.
it's everything's on steroids, weaponized, and it's not a standard. If you've never seen the day stick, it's not your standard nightstick. It's like the size of a baseball bat.
Yes.
So, and all the judges have them, and they're very, very effective with them. Almost like they're a sword in a way to them guys.
Yep.
One thing all the judges are standard with is a boot knife.
Yep.
And I'm not talking a knife. I mean, this is a knife. You know, it's pretty big. And the other thing they're, which is pretty standard them guys, is stun gas grenades, which will make you deathly sick. And also give the judges cover. I've seen some statistics for those, and they kill 1 out of 250 people they're used on. So there's a little bit of a lethalness to them. Anything else would you like to cover for Judge Dredd?
Yeah, some of his weaponry that I researched him trying to find a lot of different things. Judge Dredd's kind of a hard character to find a lot of stuff on.
Yeah.
But you can find it out there. But some of his other like grenades he may carry, I see him. You know, he used them in the movie. Ain't there one that he throws and he can like activate his voice through it?
Yes, a lot of the judge's stuff is voice activated.
So that would be very deceiving to his combatant. Whoever he may be going up against, if he threw it out there with the smoke pellet, it made it sound like he was somewhere else, and he snuck up on him. So you got that kind of stuff, and then you've got his standard array. I'm trying to think. His regular body armor is just regular body armor, from what I can tell.
Yes.
There ain't much special about it.
We'll get to that in a second. I think the only thing that needs to, because we try to limit the amount of ammunition and weaponry characters carry, and which really would only probably come down to the stun gas grenades. The stun, I should say. I don't want to get them confused with stun. But usually we got about a 3 grenade count here with behind the mask crossover collision. So he'll be carrying 3 of those. Now you wanted to say something about armor. The armor itself does not ever seem bulletproof whatsoever. But it is shock resistant and fireproof. There has been many times Judge Dredd has been depicted as on fire and still going after his perp.
Yeah, I think in his suit he has like a med kit too. So like if he does get shot, he just freaking mans it.
Well, most times he just walks through it.
Yeah.
It doesn't really stop him. But the biggest part of his armor comes through basically his helmet. His helmet is very useful compared to the rest of his armor. He has a communicator, which all judges do to communicate between each other, between the law offices. They also have protective lenses, which are completely bulletproof.
Yep.
Just even the whole helmet. I mean, anytime you see a judge get shot in the head, it's always ricocheted. They also have a built-in respirator, which can be used with the badge.
Yep.
The lens also has a magnifier, which also helps Judge Dredd in other areas, which we'll get to soon. It also can translate languages after being exposed to them for a short amount of time. I thought that was really useful. Because especially, well, and when we do crossover collisions, Dredd is not a guy that speaks a lot of languages. But in comic books, when you get to characters that are on his level, like a street level, they learn a lot of languages. And, you know, and if Judge Dredd was ever to be in a team up with people, with his able to magnify and zoom in on people and listen on them, he'd be able to learn their language in a short amount of time. So that's actually kind of pretty useful. Anything you have to add with armor?
I think that's about it.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, there's not a whole lot you can find on their armor. And I guess, you know, that could... I guess you could say that's probably a good thing about the Judge Dredd's books is they focus more on the character and not all this crazy weaponry, which a lot of popular comics are known to do, especially like your Batman, your Captain America's. You know, they usually focus on Judge Dredd, the character. So I guess you could say that's a good thing. As we move on from armor and weaponry into abilities, you could kind of say this fits, but Judge Dredd once had his eyes clawed out, and he still went after the guy through some fire.
That's insane.
Yes, it is insane. And due to that, he was given bionic eyes, and which give him 20/20 night vision, not 20/20 day vision like we typically have, like I have, not to brag or anything, but yes, he has 20/20 night vision. So at night he can see perfectly clear.
Yeah.
Which is very, very useful. So if you're any type of ninja trying to hide around, Judge Dredd is going to see you, so you better hide well. They also enhance clarity over long distances, so that gives him a very long distance to see you coming from him at night if there is no light. And as you had brought up, they give him what? Less blinking time.
Oh, yeah, duh. Yeah, less blinking time. Sorry.
Yeah, he's got 50% less blinking time, so for a minute where the typical person might blink 5 times, he might blink once, maybe twice, which helps with his distance at long range and with night vision. So it's going to be very, very hard to sneak up and pull something on Judge Dredd if he's got his eyes on you.
Yeah, his hand and eye coordination is greater than ours with that ability.
Yes, and speaking of, to that, he's an expert marksman, which most guys that use guns in comics are. But he pulled his lawmaker out and shot it in .002 seconds on a robot that already has a gun pulled on him.
Yeah, that's fast.
That is stupid fast. I think I looked this up one time. The record.
There's a record. The guy shoots like twice.
But that's like in .2 seconds.
Yeah.
So Judge Dredd is far better than, and that's really before shooting competitions became a big popular thing. So that kind of says a lot to, and then it might be due to the eyes. I mean, it might be due to that he's physically stronger than most people. But another thing with this expert marksman, while suffocating, he was able to shoot the communicator switch on his lawmaker, which you love, and called it to come pick him up. From a long distance. I've seen the panel of this. It's from a pretty good distance because his guy was getting away and he was going to suffocate. So that's also just some of the will that Judge Dredd has. It's pretty awesome. He's highly intelligent.
Yeah.
If you want to continue on there.
Oh yeah, he's definitely highly intelligent in all of his training. The place he works for, Hall of Justice. Is it called the Hall of Justice?
Yeah, I think it is Hall of Justice.
We might be getting that wrong. Sorry if I am. But basically, they're a training facility that trains all the judges and everything. And a lot of other judges work there. The judges there, I found out this recently, they only have to sleep for 10 minutes at a time. And they get 8 hours of rest in some kind of sleep chamber. Which means that they're constantly on patrol. They're constantly learning. So that also, in my theory, with his non-blinking eyes and his studying ability, is he's highly intelligent in any of the law-abiding things and probably everything you need to know about being a law enforcer in Mega City 1.
Well, Judge Dredd's known for...
Sorry if I... Oh,
no. He's known for making... figuring out how to get out of a bad situation on the fly. That is like I said... The comics really focus on the character and not what he carries on him. He's very, very cautious. He doesn't head rush in anything. He tries to think everything out. So the enemies very rarely have a chance to get the jump on him. And even being around the guy, he once figured out the guy was disguised. I forget who the perk was, but figured out actually that guy was posing as the mayor.
Man, that's crazy.
And had very little data on it. So that just shows you how much he pays attention to his surroundings. Like, he's got a very acute sense of detail.
And he seems to have a high level of endurance. In a lot of these panels and different things I've read about, just the stuff he goes through is just unheard of.
And so with physical ability, a lot of people might not know this, Judge Dredd is a clone.
I didn't know that.
Yes, he is a clone of the very first judge. So he is almost genetically modified perfectly. And the thing is, even at his age, which in the books he's about 70, it doesn't ever seem to show at all. I mean, if to judge him by somebody, he may be on the level of Captain America, maybe a little stronger.
Yeah.
And as we'll get into that, as Evan Great mentioned with durability, the one main thing that I've seen that was really badass about Judge Dredd, and if you ever look into respect threads with Judge Dredd, you'll find out he was crucified for 7 days, only fooling dog vultures into coming and trying to pick on him and eating them. And then, despite the pain and delirium he was in, he got off of the cross and hunted down the guy that done it and beat him to death.
That is awesome.
I
have never heard that story just right now.
Man, if I've read some Judge Dredd 2000 AD stuff, and he's pretty hardcore about stuff like that. I've used numerous panels where he's been knocked out of upper floors and buildings, crashing into cars and concrete, and gets right back up. So you can't say he's not on a super soldier level
he's
there.
Gotta be.
As we said, his armor, it's not like shock resistance. It doesn't. There's nothing that absorbs impact. It's just electrical and fireproof. And you see him take this amount of damage. And like I said, can't be the armor. He has to be physically that strong. He once survived what was called the Sin City virus, which killed 89% of it infected. And then, as I'd mentioned earlier with his eyes, he's had them crawled through fire, not be able to see, and towards the enemy to fight him.
Yep.
So that, just his durability, is pretty insane for a guy that doesn't rely heavily on body armor.
You take a beating.
Let's get to strength. This is kind of like we'd said, there's not a lot that you could judge Judge Dredd on like your typical comic book character.
Yeah.
But he does have some feats to say exactly how strong he is. You see him pick up people all the time and throw them easily, just over his head, and casually throw them. Yes, punch through walls. He has smashed perks' faces into walls and caused the walls to crack. Now, if said perk lived, well, and that's the judges for you. They're the law. As we said, this could be due to him being a clone and being a super soldier. The one feat which I'd showed you before we started this, which you wasn't aware of, is he once held a car hanging over a cliff with 4 overweight, like heavily obese people in them. And he asked them how much they weigh.
4 Evan the Greats in there.
Yes, pretty much. And they said 400 to 500 kilos. So 400 kilos is about 800 pounds. Now, that's, if you look at the size of the people, that they look like they're that individually. Now, if you add just that way that he said, plus a car, you're looking at a 2-ton car.
Yeah.
So that easily is close to 3 tons. So, I mean, he is literally at a super soldier level when it comes to strength. So, I mean, that just shows you how strong he is. And the thing is, at the end of that panel, there's guys placing a bet on how long he'll hold the car. Because they said he'd already been there 5 minutes. And he's just standing there, just holding it up, waiting for the wagon to come help. So, that right there just shows you how strong he is. Anything else that you might have read that shows his strength?
I don't think so. Basically covered all that stuff.
Speed, which we had mentioned with his bionic eyes, just his ability to draw very quickly. That's just, just based on hand-eye correction, reflexes right there. He is quick enough to disarm 2 people at point-blank range before they can fire a shot. So just to disarm one of them and not get shot is something. But to disarm both of them without them getting shot off just really shows you how fast he is.
Yep.
Now, and to kind of throw that in there, Judge Dredd faces a lot of just regular perks, just like regular criminals. So he should be able to do that. And that's one thing that kind of hurts him when it comes to that stuff. You don't really see him do it to a lot of super people.
Yeah.
But and that's more where the dead judges come on, like Judge Fear, Judge Death, those guys. He seems to be very resilient, I should say, to psychological and psychic attacks. He's shown to be immune to telepathy and fear attacks, which I had mentioned with Judge Fear and Judge Death and all them. They all seem to have gazes like that, which he told one of them to gaze into the face of Fear, and he said gaze into the face of Dredd, and he punched his face out. So...
Dracula, you cannot take Dredd.
Well, and that's the thing. You say that, and he has fought all those, I guess you could say, classic Universal monsters. Yeah. He's fought a mummy. He's fought Frankenstein. He's fought Dracula. Even in a joke book, he fought the devil. So,
wow.
But like I said, Fear's gaze did not affect him, and neither did a weapon called the Nightmare Gun. So, psychic, telepathic attacks really don't stop him. One time a high-level telepath was trying to get inside his head for information.
Yeah.
Because all the people with him, they mind-wiped him so they wouldn't know it. And Judge Dredd was able to make him think this telepath, that he could not find the information. It said just by his thoughts. So that right there shows you he has a very high level of degree against telepathy. And telepathy is a very big thing in 2018 because you have like the side judges, like Anderson and all them. So I mean that right there says that's something he's constantly up against. As for Judge Dredd, that's about all I have. If there's anything else that you have that you need to add,
not really. I mean, he's a well-rounded superhero, especially for these crossover.
Would you call him a superhero? Because he's a cop.
He's a cop. I keep saying I'm not. If there's Judge Dredd for real, you wouldn't break the law. I'm telling you right now. There's no stopping this man.
I mean, literally, if you take Judge Dredd and literally, it's Captain America and the Punisher put together.
Yeah.
I mean, you have the law-abiding stuff with Cap that's always trying to do the right thing, and the murderous intent of the Punisher, who's basically, crazy enough to kill you if need be, and you got Judge Dredd.
He's an awesome character from top to bottom. I've learned a lot just by looking him up and getting ready for this thing that I did not know.
Yeah,
it almost makes me want to go and start buying Judge Dredd.
I was just about to ask you, does this make you want to reach? I have some Judge Dredd stuff. I have all the Alien Predator stuff. I've got all the Batman stuff. And I've read a couple things just here and there.
See, he's a monster.
Yeah, especially when you look at the Lawgiver.
Yeah,
that is a very big thing for him. But the thing is, if you look up a lot of feats with Judge Dredd, a lot of times that's just for shootouts.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff where he doesn't even have that, and no weapons at all, and he's still taking on people hand to hand.
Yes.
Thinking of his fighting ability. I'm glad you said something. Now this is where it gets hard to judge, like we'd said with perks.
Yeah, because it don't really, based on what I've tried to research, it just says he's a hand-to-hand trained combatant. They don't really say what he knows.
Well, he's trained since he was basically cloned.
Yeah, it just don't say what styles and stuff. It's just punch and face.
Well, there are prime examples in his universe to use, which I said he's defeated all types of monsters.
Yeah.
So Judge Dredd has been seen going toe-to-toe and defeating most skilled fighters in 2000 AD. Are you ready to laugh this? Because you're about to laugh. He defeated the greatest martial artist in 2000 AD, who was from the Radlands of Jai, which is China, in 2000 AD. His name was Stanley.
Oh my God, that's great.
He defeated Orlok, the greatest assassin of East Meg 1, which is East Mega City 1. There's 1 and a 2, and that's basically Moscow. Which I learned that all the mega cities, different names, are basically major cities because 2080 is apocalyptic.
The East Coast is one of them, and then over on the West Coast,
yeah, you have Los Angeles and New York.
All the corrupts, I guess, that one's across the sea.
But even though you could compare him to, I would say, such characters as, like we said, Captain America, Batman, Nightwing, all these top tier hand, there are stuff in the books that shows you that, hey, I have beaten guys like that, but like I said, he has even though we try not to use crossovers, he's went toe-to-toe with Batman a couple times. So that right there just shows you he is capable of fighting these people hand-to-hand. And most of the time, it seems like most of that comes down to their fighting skills against his durability.
Yeah.
So
you take a bunch.
Other than that, as I'm going through my notes, I don't have anything else for Judge Dredd. And I assume that you are done as well?
No, I'm done, but I would like to say one more thing. If you was to build a city in the future, you should invent a time machine and go to wherever this is and get these law people to be your police officers.
Actually, 2000 AD is not that far off the book from this. I think it's like in the 2060s, 2070s.
These are the perfect law enforcement.
So yeah, exactly. I mean, even when cops are trying to do good by breaking the law, he turns them in.
Yeah.
So, but if you're interested, the first appearance of Judge Dredd is from 2000 AD number 2, not number 1. Don't get that confused. So if you're interested in collecting it, which is something I'd like to have myself because I'm a collector. But with that, this has been Judge Dredd for Behind the Mask. I'm JVD.
I'm Evan the Great.
Keep reading, guys.